No one ever told me that healing would feel like loss. Not the dramatic kind of loss with funerals and flowers and well-meaning condolences, but a quieter kind. The loss of an identity I didn't choose, but had to wear like skin. The version of me that knew how to survive, that mastered it. The version of me that never rested, never softened, never believed safety was real. Because survival taught me everything I knew. It taught me how to disappear in plain sight, how to skin a room for danger before I skin it for love, how to laugh at the right time, speak at the right time, cry only when no one was looking. It taught me how to shrink so small I'd be impossible to leave. Because maybe if I didn't take up space, I'd be allowed to stay. But survival is loud. It buzzes under your skin. It turns your heartbeat into a warning signal. And after a while, it becomes the only language you speak. Even after the threats are gone, your body doesn't know how to stop racing. Even when no one's yelling, you flinch. Even when someone says, "I'm not leaving," you start building the exit anyway just in case. Because survival doesn't clock out when a world calms down. It stays. It lingers. It rewrites the definition of love into something that feels like vigilance. I didn't know I was still surviving until someone offered me peace, and I didn't know how to hold it. I thought something was wrong with them, or with me, or with the silence that stretched between us like a test I didn't know how to pass. But here's what survival never prepared me for: stillness, safety, kindness that didn't come with strings, eyes that stayed soft, hands that reached out without pulling away. And suddenly I realized I didn't know how to live without the edge. I didn't know how to breathe without the countdown. I didn't know who I was outside of defense mode. That's what unlearning survival feels like. It feels like realizing your armor is rusted onto your skin, like reaching for a weapon you no longer need but still carry out of habit, like trying to sleep with your eyes half open because rest still feels like a risk. It's waking up at 3 a.m., then waiting for something bad to happen because something good just did. It's saying "I love you," and then panicking because maybe that gave someone the power to hurt you. It's learning that sometimes the person who's safest to you is the one who scares you most. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because they're offering you something your body doesn't recognize: consistency, stability, care that doesn't vanish when you stop performing. And so, your healing begins not in the big moments, but in the micro decisions. You text back instead of ghosting. You cry and let someone witness it. You admit that you're not okay without trying to make it sound poetic. You eat when you're hungry. You stop apologizing for being inconvenient. You let someone carry the weight with you even if just for a breath. I remember the first time I cried in front of someone and didn't rush to wipe it away. My hands twitched. My heart raced. I was waiting for the disgust, the rejection, the door to slam. But they just stayed. Quiet, gentle, present, and something cracked open inside me. Because presence, when you've lived a life of absence, feels like a miracle. It's terrifying, but it's sacred. You begin to grieve not just the past, but who you had to become inside it. You grieve the hyper-alert child, the teen who never felt at home, the adult who learned how to fake calm while screaming underneath. You grieve the years that were consumed by the need to survive. And you grieve the fact that survival worked, but it cost you softness, trust, wholeness. And that grief isn't pretty. It's not linear. It shows up in waves, in grocery store aisles, in text messages you almost sent, in memories you didn't know you still carried, in dreams where someone finally chooses you but you still run. Unlearning survival means forgiving yourself for the ways you coped. It means seeing your younger self not as weak or broken, but as brilliant, adaptive, sacred. They got you here. They built the bridge. And now, you get to choose where it leads. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you start to notice change. You laugh without waiting for the echo of shame. You ask for what you need without rehearsing it like an apology. You stop performing and still feel loved. You feel your shoulders relax just a little. You sleep through the night without dreaming of escape. You touch your own face and feel warmth instead of numbness. That's healing. It's not a destination. It's not a straight line. It's not an Instagram quote or a 5-step plan. It's a slow unfolding, a gradual unthawing, a remembering of what you were before the fear moved in. And sometimes healing looks like returning to survival mode for a moment and then choosing to step out of it. Sometimes it looks like falling apart in a safe place. Sometimes it looks like saying no, even when your nervous system screams that it's dangerous. Sometimes it's letting love in, even when every cell in your body is waiting for it to vanish. Healing feels like betrayal at first, because you're betraying the rules that once kept you alive. The ones that said, don't trust, don't feel, don't need, don't stay. And now you're saying, I do trust, I do feel, I do need, I will stay. And that choice, it takes courage. Not the kind of courage people write stories about, but the quiet kind. The kind that happens in kitchens and bedrooms and therapy rooms and journal pages. The kind that no one sees, but that changes everything. And one day, maybe without realizing it, you'll meet yourself in the mirror and notice that something's different. The panic isn't there, the eyes are softer, the grip is looser. You'll realize you've made a home inside your body, that your voice no longer shakes when you say I deserve better, that your scars are no longer armor, but memory, that your story is no longer about survival but about becoming. You'll look back and see the trail behind you marked by every time you chose to stay, to breathe, to hope, even when it hurt. That's what healing feels like. It feels like freedom you never thought you'd earn. It feels like safety, not given but reclaimed. It feels like becoming someone your younger self would have trusted. And if you're not there yet, if you're still caught in the in-between, still holding the pieces, know this: you're not broken, you're becoming. And that is enough.